Multiple glitches hit Wells Fargo, fraudulent accounts and customer complaints on the rise. Ukraine launches registration for temporary Black Sea corridors to address food security crisis. The Eiffel Tower was evacuated for several hours Saturday over a bomb threat. Progress in negotiations. Potential release of detained Americans in Iran signals diplomatic breakthrough. Russia launches lunar mission in race for lunar South Pole exploration. Missile attack on Kerch bridge. Tensions escalate between Russia and Ukraine. Multiple glitches hit Wells Fargo. Fraudulent accounts and customer complaints on the rise. About a week ago, an unknown number of Wells Fargo customers were suddenly unable to withdraw money from their bank accounts. For Wells Fargo, it was the second time this year that such a problem had occurred. The bank declined to comment when Report Room reached out for an explanation of the exact cause and scope of the issue. More recently, further investigation found that third-party imposters had created fraudulent accounts at Wells Fargo, for which the bank denied any wrongdoing and said the problem was widespread across the financial services industry. The difficulties that Wells Fargo and Green Dot customers encountered reflect a dramatic increase in complaints about financial service companies in recent years. Ukraine launches registration for temporary Black Sea corridors to address food security crisis. Ukraine opens registration for merchant ships to sail temporary corridors in the Black Sea. Ukraine opened registration Saturday for merchant ships to sail through temporary corridors in the Black Sea, according to the Ukrainian Navy. The temporary routes aim to overcome the global food security crisis, Pletnychuk said. Pletnychuk said Ukrainian armed forces will help to ensure the security of the merchant ships sailing through the corridors, with the Navy doing everything we can. The Navy outlined that only vessels whose owners or captains officially accept the current conditions will be allowed to use the routes. The Eiffel Tower was evacuated for several hours Saturday over a bomb threat. The 3 floors of the tower, as well as the courtyard, were evacuated while authorities assessed the threat. A large security perimeter was quickly established and traffic was diverted. A team of deminers were also brought on site to assess the threat. It's a usual procedure in this kind of situation, which is rare nevertheless, a spokesperson for SATE, the operating company for the Eiffel Tower. It has now reopened again to the public. Almost 7 million people visit the Paris tourist attraction annually. The monument has a police station at the foot of the South Pillar. Its premises are under video surveillance, and visitors have to undergo security checks before entry. Progress in negotiations. Potential release of detained Americans in Iran signals diplomatic breakthrough. Closing in on a deal to free 5 Americans detained in Iran, U.S. and Iranian delegations gathered in separate hotels in Doha. The overall contours of the deal's roadmap began to crystallize in Doha about 6 months ago, after 2.5 years of intensive on and off indirect discussions between Washington and Tehran. And on Thursday, those intense efforts yielded the first sign of payoff when Iran released 4 Americans who had been detained in the notorious Evin prison and moved them into house arrest. If that plays out as agreed, the intricate diplomacy will have produced a momentous agreement between longtime adversaries whose relationship has been strained by Iran's growing nuclear program and its alleged human rights abuses. Russia launches lunar mission in race for lunar South Pole exploration. Russia launched its first moon landing spacecraft in 47 years on Friday in a bid to be the first nation to make a soft landing on the lunar South Pole, a region believed to hold coveted pockets of water ice. The Russian lunar mission, the first since 1976, is racing against India, which launched its Chandrayaan-3 lunar lander last month, and more broadly with the United States and China, both of which have advanced lunar exploration programs targeting the lunar South Pole. The lander is expected to touch down on the moon on August 21, Russia's space chief Yuri Borisov told state television, though the space agency previously pegged August 23 as the landing date. There is much riding on the Luna 25 mission, as the Kremlin says the West's sanctions over the Ukraine war, many of which have targeted Moscow's aerospace sector, have failed to cripple the Russian economy. 2 Ukrainian missiles were shot down over a bridge connecting Russia-annexed Crimea to the mainland, Russian authorities say. The Kerch bridge has come under repeated attack during the conflict. 2 enemy missiles were shot down by air defense forces near the Kerch Strait. The Crimean bridge has not been damaged, the Russia-appointed head of Crimea, Sergei Aksyonov, said. Traffic on the bridge has been temporarily blocked following the attempted attack, Also known as the Kerch Bridge, it holds personal value for Russian President Vladimir Putin. In the Kremlin narrative, it marks the reunification of Crimea with the Russian mainland. Stay informed with our updates. Subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video.